Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, on this day of the Teacher Sage, also Mercury's Day, Odin's Day, the 24th of Leo, the 10th of Hazel, the 24th of Salmon, the 19th of Hayanir, which is the haymaking month. On to the astrology of the day. The sun is in Leo, fixed fire, representing achievement. The moon is second quarter Sagittarius, mutable fire, which represents adventurousness. Mercury is retrograding in Virgo, mutable earth, representing reflections. And then at 7:16 p.m. Central Time, it actually falls back the sign of Leo, when then it takes on the characteristic of very fragile relationships. So definitely bear that in mind, especially if there's any relationship in your life, whether it is romantic or family, friends, business relationships, people within your community, your spiritual community, whatever it is. Just be very, very careful around those right now, because all of the issues of those relationships are likely to be making an appearance, especially with regards to how communication is conducted within those relationships. So be aware. Venus is in Virgo, mutable earth, representing perfectionism. Mars is in Gemini, mutable air, which is to be pugnacious. Jupiter is in Gemini, mutable air, representing questing. Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which is to redefine dreams. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, which represents renovation. Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which is about spiritual awakenings. And Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius, fixed air, which means to examine intentions. Now, a few other reminders for our planetary retrogrades. For Mercury, it is reevaluate communication patterns. This is especially important because now relationship issues are going to start cropping up. Then for the Saturn retrograde, reclaim your authority. Neptune retrograde, reclaim faith, joy, magic, and imagination. For Pluto retrograde, reclaim your ability to regenerate. And for Chiron retrograde, restore the heroic spirit. Now, for the moon phase, it is waxing gibbous, so cultivate those intentions. For the Sagittarius moon, remember to do teach, do converse, do go outside. Still be mindful of the Mercury retrograde. Be careful about how you are communicating. The manner actually does matter. Some of your don'ts for this moon are cramped spaces, unsolicited advice, pointless argumentation. So, again, Mercury has retrograded out of Virgo. It has fallen back into Leo. You may find yourself drawn out of your internal landscape this evening and discover that your thoughts are being redirected towards relationships that just aren't in the strongest of shapes. So treat the ones you love very gently at this time. For today's tarot, we have the Two of Wands. The number 2 represents partnerships and rivalries, depending on the context. The suit of Wands is the emotional masculine, projective energy, fire element, and the will. And the keywords for the card are lofty goals, taking a unique approach, wielding authority, and seizing an opportunity. So it's really up to you. Take the initiative, set things into motion. This is not about allowing things to happen to you today. This is about you being the person who initiates change, who makes things happen, and who just crosses off that to-do list. This isn't about anyone else doing things for you today. This is all about what you are doing for yourself and you carrying out your business yourself. For today's Celtic Triad, it reads, 3 things all should have on hand for a guest, expected or not: open door, undry cauldron, and warm bed. So an open door to a guest is about being prepared to welcome someone, meaning that you have your household in order. It doesn't look like you've been fighting a poltergeist for the last 7 days. Things are in reasonable order. Things are reasonably clean. If a friend or a relative just kind of showed up, you have some preparations, you have some ability to attend to them. Now, for the undry cauldron, in modern terms, that really equates to having food on hand, being able to have it quickly prepared, being ready to provide for a guest. And the warm bed, of course, every guest needs a comfortable place to sleep. And this represents a challenge for many of us, because sometimes, we don't live in a place that's really big enough to where we could really have guests in a meaningful way over. And of course, with all the economic challenges, it can be very, very difficult to be ready to provide for an extra mouth if one happened to appear at the door. But going on, but it isn't about necessarily what's easy for us. It's about this is essentially the kind of thing that our pagan ancestors would expect of us. This is the sort of thing, it's about It's about your cultural character, who you are, whether or not you are really identifying with your cultural roots, particularly your cultural values. And of course, hospitality is a very important pagan value. And, again, this is the sort of thing that shouldn't have to be said. But, a guest is someone who obviously is not hostile towards you, who isn't trying to take over your household or your nation. Uh, the people who do that, there's a word for that, and it's enemies. And again, it shouldn't have to be said, but, that's the world we're living in. We do have to make that distinction, because our ancestors certainly would have made that distinction. So when we're receiving this counsel and we're getting this advice, this isn't about making ourselves vulnerable to others who might wish us harm or worse, might do us harm. This is about people with whom we are in good relationship, people with whom we have mutual goodwill and mutual affection. We should have our doors open to them. And I don't know, just something in my head is telling me to just kind of really underscore this. So blame the universe. I'm getting a nudge. I guess we should look to our households and ourselves and be a little bit more prepared to be open to those with whom we have a relationship with. Maybe it'll be necessary in some fashion. Maybe it's necessary for someone right now. Don't know who, but if this message was for you, well, you're welcome. I got the nudge, and now you have the nudge too. Now for today's magical correspondences, they are centered on the idea of memory. For this, the color is yellow. The plant is the marigold. The animal is the elephant, because what other animal could I possibly choose for this? And the crystal is the amber. And of course, again, for those of us who are a bit more literal minded, yes, scientifically, amber is the fossilized resin of a tree. We all understand that. But in magic, we treat it the same as we would any other crystal. Now, memory can be improved, which is good news for a lot of us, because I don't know about you, but memory isn't my strongest suit. I have to use information constantly. I have to review things constantly. Something has to matter. There has to be a reason why I have to know the thing. Otherwise, I'm going to have trouble with my memory banks. And just think, you're nowhere near Alzheimer's or dementia yet. Wait till I'm old. It's going to be a very entertaining adventure for everyone, I'm sure. But we can all improve our memories. And I think sometimes our reliance on technology has artificially damaged our memories. I think because we aren't really having to rely on our memories as much, we're not. And so, like muscle, it atrophies. So making better use of your memory, expecting yourself to remember things a little bit more, having backups just in case, of course, but just telling yourself, I'm going to start keeping things in my head a little bit better. That can help a great deal to make improvements. For today's practice, what lesson do you think is needed the most? And you could apply this to any context. Whatever context popped into your head, that's the kind of the question, the perspective to really address this question from. And then today's hermetic principle is polarity. Again, look for examples of that out in the world. And for the witch's pyramid, we're turning our attention to the east wall. And as the east wall has everything to do with the air element, which means intellect, what is the state of your logical skills? People these days are reacting very, very, very emotionally. So you can't necessarily do anything about your neighbors being hyper emotional, but you can look to yourself. You can say, maybe I just need to take a deep breath, separate myself from, my immediate emotional reaction, and just try to look at things at the facts and then logically reason based upon those facts. It can actually work wonders for your blood pressure when you do that. It even calms me down, and I can definitely get worked up about things. But people starting to do that, that is retraining them to behaving in a bit more of a civilized fashion. It can save you a lot of wear and tear on your nerves if you improve your logical thinking. And also, I think when more people adopt that, in the long run, that does have an influence on the broader society, because more people are saying, okay, maybe if I don't go headlong into an emotional frenzy about everything, that will actually lead to a better outcome for me. And the more people embrace that, the more likely we are to be able to discuss difficult challenges, difficult questions, points of disagreement, in a better way, in a way to where we're trying to figure out what is the right thing to do, what is the proper conclusion, as opposed to what's going to just get me my own way. I think we can raise the tone. At least we can be part of the effort of raising the tone. Also, today, maybe take a moment to research something you're curious about. And as this Wednesday, it's Divination Day. Now, for our journaling, what part of your spiritual path do you feel most confident about? And how would you teach it to someone else? And I encourage you to do that because even if you may never have a YouTube channel like this, you may never have host an in-person class having to do with spirituality, you may never actually directly mentor someone. However, you are probably going to be bumping into your pagan brothers and sisters, and there are things that you know that they don't. And when those things arise, you will have an opportunity to give them the benefit of your knowledge and your experience. So just being prepared and learning to think of ourselves as someone who has something important to convey to others, as opposed to tearing ourselves down and not having confidence in ourselves, I think that would be a healthy thing for us to do. So that does it for the forecast today. I hope you have an absolutely spectacular day. If you would care to follow me on X, you could find me at Blackbird's Brew. And of course, the Blackbird Grimoire is available on both YouTube and Rumble. And if you would like to join the Oak and Elder Witchery, which is a community of pagans and witches who come together for both good company and also to swap research materials and just share our own experiences. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to get to know other people in a more relaxed way, and in a way that's away from the hustle and bustle from places like Facebook and Twitter, because people don't really come there to connect and have real conversations with each other. Not generally. It's more so of people just shouting out into the void. So if you would like to have a place where you can get a break from that, where you can just talk human to human, that's what the Oak and Elder Witchery is really all about. So you do have that opportunity, and it's up to you to seize it. But I think that is all I have for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.